A very, very distressing story next, I'm afraid. Two 12-year-old boys found guilty of stabbing a 19-year-old man. Our Home and Security editor, Mark White, is across this story. Mike, this is absolutely horrific, isn't it?
Yeah, Camilla, it's the kind of story that we would have reported on anyway, given the horrific nature of the attack, using a machete with multiple blows, including one wound that went right through this young man's back and through his rib cage and into his heart. That was the fatal blow. So an absolutely terrible incident, but much more notable given that those who have now been convicted of this young 19-year-old Shawn Seesahai's murder are just 12 years old. And of course, lots of questions about how on earth two boys as young as 12 were carrying about a machete, but the witnesses during this month-long trial at Nottingham Crown Court said that these boys regularly had a machete and other knives that they would carry, take turns in carrying and waving around and threatening people. This incident happened last November in a park in Wolverhampton. It was into the evening. Mr. Seesahai and a teenage friend of his were in the park. They had some kind of altercation with the two 12-year-olds. At that point, according to the court, one of the 12-year-old boys produced this machete and started chasing after them. Well, one of the boys managed to get away, but Shawn Seesahai tripped and fell. He was jumped upon by these two boys, who then began beating and kicking and stabbing them with this machete, and he died a short time later. Now, Mr. Seesahai's parents have been talking to West Midlands Police on the website for that force. They put out some of that interview. We can have a listen to that now.
I was outside in the living room, and her phone rang, then she answered the call and she started crying. I asked her what happened. She said, Shawn got stabbed. I said, what happened? She started to cry, she cannot talk. Take the phone from her. I asked him, I said, what happened to Shawn? He said, Shawn got stabbed. I said, Shawn is okay? He said, no, Shawn passed away.
She keeps saying that now soon she will graduate next 2 years from now. She expects her brother to be there. She crying that she don't have a brother anymore, and that affects us a lot when she say things like that. And she keep crying. It's hard on her right now. It's very.
Now, these two boys are the youngest to be convicted of murder since 1993, when Robert Thompson and John Venables were convicted and then named for murdering 2-year-old James Bulger. There has been an application by the press for these two 12-year-olds to be named, but of course we're in a different era now, where judges take into consideration much more in a much more proactive way the concerns and the issues surrounding an offender as well. So it remains to be seen whether these two boys will be named, but clearly there is a public appetite for them to be named, and also for some real questions to be asked about how two boys as young as 12 could have been going around with deadly weapons quite publicly for some time before this murder.
Mark White, thank you very much indeed for summarising all of that. I mean, 12 years old, carrying machetes. I must say, I mean, not just speaking as a journalist, but as a mum, you know, I actually think they should be named, because this was a completely unprovoked attack on somebody who'd done nothing. I mean, to be knifing people. Anyway, I mean, Mark will keep abreast of the situation, because I'm sure there'll be an application by lots of journalists to name these two. But thank you very much indeed for summarising what is such a horrifically tragic story.